All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our member meeting. I'm Colleen Samuels. For those of you who don't know, I'm the Executive Director for Dr. Mack, and today we will be discussing community resources as we head into the winter season. We look forward to sharing these resources while learning how to support different efforts through the metro area. And as usual, Steph will begin the meeting by addressing some Zoom housekeeping. You're muted, Steph.
Yep, that sounds right. I was saying thank you. If you haven't done already, please put your name and organization into the chat just so we can keep track of who's here. And we just kindly ask that everyone stays muted unless you're speaking. Please feel free to use the chat to ask questions, share comments, anything in there. You can also use the raise your hand function to be called on if you have a question or anything. So with that covered, we're going to go ahead and move on to some brief staff introductions from the Dr. Mack team, and Malia is going to kick us off.
Hi, everyone. I'm Malia Munson. I'm the Administrative Project Coordinator, and usually we give updates here. I'm just going to put that on pause as I'll be talking to everyone about membership at the end of the meeting. Let's see, who's next? Maria.
Hi everyone, my name is Maria Griffin, and I am Dr. Mack's bilingual administrative and marketing assistant. I am currently aiming to broaden our community engagement and transportation services research outside the counties that we currently serve. Also, please, to all our members, follow us on social media. Over the last month, we share a series of posts announcing all the new things going on in Dr. Mack, so I encourage everyone to check it out. Thank you. Steph?
Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie O'Neill. I'm a program manager of special projects here at Dr. Mack. As you know, the theme of this meeting is really just about giving opportunities this winter season. So we've compiled a lot of resources for you to do that. And I'm going to momentarily put a link in the chat to a post on our website with all that information. We'll be featuring a few of those here today in our meeting, but there'll be an even larger list of ways you can support that there. So yeah, thanks. And next is Arthur.
Hi, I'm Arthur. I'm the Outreach and Development Coordinator here at Dr. Mack. I am a person who's taken over writing the newsletters. So if you get our newsletter, that's me. And I'm also doing a bunch of outreach. So if you see me in your inbox at all, hi, please reach out. I'd love to, collaborate with you all. And next is Latoya.
Yep, my name is Latoya, and I am the Operation and Development Manager here with Dr. Mack. We've been doing a whole bunch of stuff, lots of outreach for interns. We really would love some interns, volunteers. We're always taking them, and we love all that help that we get. And we're also really pushing the local coordinating councils that are going on in each county. And I really feel like we've been amping them up quite a bit. So if that's something you're interested in doing, please don't hesitate to go ahead and reach out to me via email. My email is on the slide deck right now. I'll also enter it in the chat, but I think it's a good way to really participate in and stay involved in, what's going on in your county. So thanks so much. Valeria?
Hi everyone, I'm Valeria. I am the bilingual program and training assistant. We do trainings on RTD rides, Lyft rides, and other resources that we relate to our communities. We do it in English and Spanish. So if you or any community members are interested in any of those trainings, feel free to reach out. We also have a information resource line. So I'm seeing a lot of folks put in their information here. If there's any new resource that we're not aware of, feel free to reach out to us as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Dr. Mack. Our first speaker is Suzanne Bruce from Hunger Free Colorado. They work to make sure that all Coloradans have sustainable access, to nutritious, affordable food every day, where they need it and when they need it. Suzanne?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. And I am jumping right into the fundraising opportunities and donation opportunities just because I have to jump to another meeting. But Alyssa Hardy will tell you more about the work of Hunger Free Colorado and our mission to connect people to food resources to meet existing needs while driving policy, systems, and social change to end hunger. And the obvious part of the discussion is that fundraising is essential for a nonprofit's survival, and Hunger Free Colorado does have a blend of funding, fortunately, which includes donations from individuals, foundations, and corporations, and also some state government funding. We raise funds year round so we can provide our services year round and ensure that our clients are able to access healthy food resources consistently all year long. The busy holiday times and end of year are certainly when we get the majority of our individual donations. And our big push this year is through Colorado Gives Day, which is the biggest individual statewide day of giving, as you all probably know and have heard about, and it's on December 10th. And this does make up a significant part of our individual donations that we get. Hunger Free Colorado then also has a fundraising event in the spring called the Hike to End Hunger. And we try to bring community and supporters together to raise funds for our work to end hunger. And it turns out to be a lot of fun. We also have a monthly giving program called the Full Plate Society. And this is where people sign up for a monthly donation that continues each month throughout the year. And those donations really add up. And the Full Plate Society is such an important part of our funding because this is the reliable and predictable revenue that is key to sustaining our organization. So there's a lot more information about donations on our website, and that is www.hungerfreecolorado.org, which I can put in the chat, and I'll hand it back to Alyssa to talk about our programs a little bit more. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Suzanne. Yeah, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Thanks for rolling through our slides as we're sharing here. I also shared a screenshot in the chat for some of the information that Suzanne was sharing. Yeah, so at Hunger Free, as Suzanne said, we do a lot of different activities. We work on policy initiatives, changes to help improve our food systems and food sovereignty. We do a lot of organizing, and then our client services team has a contract with the state, the Colorado Department of Human Services, to provide SNAP outreach. So we provide SNAP outreach services across the state of Colorado, and we do that via 3 different approaches. We have a hotline, and we have a mobile outreach approach where the team goes into the community. It's a little bit more information on this slide here about this. And then we have partners. We have 50 partners across the state of Colorado that go out and that we partner with to connect the people they're already working with or have relationships with to SNAP by way of having that contract with us. They can access Peak Pro licenses and in that type of thing. So some of those partners look like health clinics, WIC clinics, food pantries, food where they're serving hot meals, various places where people naturally arrive. So we're always trying to connect with people where they already are to help educate about SNAP, let them know that, you know, do an assessment to see if they should apply, if they might qualify, and get that application in. We also do a lot of problem solving. You know, if someone is having a challenge getting their money on their card, or they didn't get as much money as they thought they should, we have avenues to reach out to the counties and the state to check in on that. So we're always just kind of right next to the people that we're serving, helping them get what they need. But yeah, I think the next slide is our map of where our SNAP Ps are located. So as you can see across Colorado, we do cover every county because as we know, some of those frontier and rural counties are kind of spread out and they have providers that are serving more than one county. So we are in each county. And yeah, so happy to, from there, answer any questions anyone might have.
Feel free to also add it to the chat if you think of something a little bit later.
Mhm.
This is Jamie Lewis. I'm just curious what the current political situation. It looks like SNAP might be under attack in the next 4 years. And I'm just curious if you guys have any contingency plan to start maybe reaching out to the counties, municipalities, or the state to help backfill some of those losses.
Great question. Not yet. We're hoping that we can get through these 4 years without that happening, and we'll continue to advocate where we can to make sure people are getting what they need and are able to get SNAP. That said, we can maybe speak better for the state of Colorado in that the state is always looking at ways to support its residents in the best way possible. Whereas, and this is hard because then other states might not be getting the same services. But this is where we are, unfortunately, right? So the state of Colorado does look at different ways, looking at different ways of funding programs like this. That said, there's not a lot of money in the state budget for this kind of work. There's just kind of enough. How it works is we're able to match any state or local funding 50-50 with federal funding because it's through the USDA. So, we can't draw down that match, that federal money without a match. But, then again, if that federal money goes away, that's going to take away half of like what our budget is to do the work. So that's why it is important to continue to raise money, raise funds, things like that. That said, there are some other things being worked on. For example, connecting Medicaid to nutrition to help reduce chronic health conditions, the effects of those, because we know, when people have access to good nutrition and healthy foods, they feel better, their health is better, and that can help reduce the impact on the Medicaid system. So kind of like working on some approaches from that direction. But yeah, I mean, I really do think it probably will come down to a state by state process, and hopefully Colorado will be able to continue to help people out with that. One thing that Colorado has too, some other states do as well, is the Double Up Food Bucks program. If you're not familiar, the Double Up Food Bucks program allows people to buy double the amount of fruits and vegetables with their SNAP than they would otherwise. So that helps increase the amount of healthy foods that people are able to purchase with their SNAP money. Good question.
Kara, was a good question. Thanks, Jamie.
I have
Are
a
there-
question. I have a question. And I'll probably ask this to all of our presenters today, but just in terms of, because we're kind of, our main goal is connecting people to transportation resources to then access their community and additional resources. So is there anything that we can do from a transportation standpoint to help get people connected to like your resources and accessing that food and things like that you can think of?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think looking at ways for people to have transportation to like food pantries, food banks, any of those outreach locations where people arrive to help people out. Again, if someone doesn't have transportation, they can call our hotline if they have a phone. And that's not true for everyone either, but we can absolutely that's a lot of like what we do to help support people who might not have transportation. That said, it's not currently up, but on our website, we're working on making sure we have our updated mobile outreach sites where our staff are arriving. So like places like Denver Health, libraries, Adams County Human Services, places like that, where kind of thinking about helping people get to those locations, which might also include, the reason we're in those locations is because you can also go to go to Denver Health for a medical appointment, go to, Human Services Office for many things, and, the library for connection, Wi-Fi, all of that kind of stuff. So just kind of thinking, broadly about that. And also feel free to reach out to us with feedback about where you're identifying people are asking for transportation to, where it might be good for us to make a connection.
Awesome. Yeah, that's helpful to know. And I think we, in addition to like our travel trainings, I think on our own information assistance line, we get a lot of, I think we could definitely compile a list of kind of the common places that people are going. So yeah, thank you.
Sorry, go ahead, Maria.
I also have a question. You mentioned that there is a hotline. Are there meal delivery options for people that just cannot mobilize at all?
It depends on where they live. And I think we have some other partners here that might have some more information on that. But we don't do that. We don't do any meal delivery, but we would make a referral to one of those delivery resources. People can call our hotline and get that information anytime. We keep that updated.
That is great. Partnering it just helps more people as well.
It does. You're absolutely right.
LaToya, I think you were first and then Jamie.
Thanks. I did have a question. You talked about Medicaid and them working with providing healthy options for food and choices. Have you guys thought about possibly putting on something where some of the items you guys may be handing out or providing as resources are for food options, maybe doing some cooking options and teaching them how to make these meals, just because I know, especially when you're tied with finances, you're going to go for something that's going to go further, a lot cheaper, and that tends to be processed foods and things that are boxed, right? And so having somebody teaching them how to be able to utilize these foods that they may be getting from food banks and stuff to actually make into pretty good healthy meals. Do you guys do that?
Yes, and we're working on making that better. Nourish, the organization, and University of Colorado has a contract with the state for SNAP education. And a piece of that is working on recipes, learning how to make your groceries go further, cooking, things like that. And we actually just had a meeting yesterday with a few of those folks to talk about this a little bit more and how we can collaborate even better. So for example, on recipe cards that they give out, they'll include SNAP outreach information. As we're doing outreach, we'll include information that they'll provide. We've talked about sharing seed banks, different things like that. So we do, and we're in the process of making that an even better collaboration.
I know that Emily Griffith had opened up their kitchens to allow families to come in to learn things like that. So maybe that might be a good collaboration with them.
Yeah, very cool. There is a program called Cooking Matters, and I can't remember exactly. I think that the language may have been changed up, but Nourish was leading that the last few years, and that's kind of switched a little bit. But yeah, there are some good. I wonder if Emily Griffith was working with that program too.
Jamie?
Yeah, in the RTD district, which covers most of the Front Range, we have an on-demand system that people who need paratransit services are using, basically using Uber, Lyft, Skip, and Metro Taxi. And one of the problems is if they stop for more than 5 minutes, they basically have to pay for another trip to start all over again. And my question is, do you think we could start communicating to some of the pantries to have like a pickup option where they could call in and say, I want 2 tomatoes, 2 apples, whatever, and have it ready to be picked up. Because if it's less than 2 or 3 minutes, then that person gets to save their ride and go on to their next destination. So if you could start that conversation, that'd be great.
That's cool. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that. We are working with food banks and pantries across the Front Range area, like you mentioned, to have we're trying to work out a platform for people to get online and identify where they can get the food that they're looking for, that's culturally appropriate and so forth. And kind of, I think this is a great piece of that. To have that already bagged up and ready to go for them. And some pantries and banks already do that. So it's worth reaching out and giving them a call. But yeah, there's a lot more work to do there. That's really great information. Thanks, Jamie.
Are there any more questions before we move on to the next presenter? I'm just make sure I don't miss any hands.
I do. So the next big push you guys are going to do would be the Thanksgiving baskets and things like that, correct?
You mean for helping people get connected?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and obviously the rest of the holiday season is coming up very fast, and people start calling real early all of the things. So we get all of that information and we have it in our resource database. So people can again call our hotline and we'll share that information. And for a lot of times when they might just be calling the hotline or connecting with our partners or talking to us on outreach, and our staff are trained to say, hey, do you have a plan for Thanksgiving, or do you have a plan for this, and making sure people have that information too. Yeah, and I see a lot of folks shared some other great resources in the chat, like Benefits in Action and Grow House and maybe some others as well. So, and Growing Home. Yeah, so some good stuff out there. I'll share our hotline in the chat as well. Yeah, sorry, Colleen.
Thank you. No, this is really good. I love the collaboration. I want to make sure we give the other presenters enough time to speak. So thank you so much, Melissa and Suzanne. It was a really good presentation. I'm going to pass it on to Maria, and she will introduce our next speaker.
Thanks, Colleen. Next, I'm going to introduce Brandy Brogan from Project Angel Heart. This organization prepares and delivers medically tailored meals to people living with severe illness. Brandy, the floor is yours.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. I'm Brandy Brogan. I'm the Senior Director of Programs here at Project Angel Heart. And hopefully I can fill in some of those answers to some of the questions that you had. So we are one of the meal delivery agencies that can help do that. So our vision is for all Coloradans who have an illness to be able to have their health and well-being supported by having medically tailored nutritious meals. One of the questions that somebody had was about providing kind of that education around cooking and things like that. So we do have registered dietitians on staff who provide nutritional education and counseling to all of our clients. And so that is something that is available, and they will walk them through how to grocery shop on their own, how to be able to pick out the appropriate foods. If they're at a food bank shopping, which foods are most appropriate for them and their illnesses, as well as how to prepare them or how to stretch their SNAP benefits or the money that they have to buy appropriate foods, because as we all know, some of the cheaper foods are the ones that are unhealthiest. And so they'll actually talk them through that and be able to help them make the better decisions on how to purchase the nutritionally appropriate foods for them based on their financial means. So that is something that our dietitians can help people with. If you want to go ahead and switch to the next slide. So we just started our new fiscal year. Just to give you an idea of the scale of what we do, this year we'll provide 815,000 meals to more than 5,000 people across Colorado. 3 weeks ago, I'm excited to say we expanded up to Fort Collins, Greeley, and Loveland. So we added a lot bigger delivery area. And we deliver all the way down through Pueblo, so all of the Front Range, which is super exciting. And what we do is prepare all the meals from scratch every day. We have professional chefs that do that, and then we medically tailor them to meet people's specific diet needs. We freeze them and then deliver a week's worth of meals at a time. Go ahead and switch to the next slide. So what our meals look like and kind of how it works. So this is one of our meals actually. So all of our meals have 2.5 to 3 cups of vegetables. It has a protein, the appropriate amount of carbs, and some healthy fats. And our dietitians work with our chefs to make sure that all of the meals are medically tailored to meet people's specific diet needs based on their illness, as well as their medications, their treatments, and just to make sure that it's meeting their needs. The meals, like I said, come frozen, so it provides that dignity and that independence so they can pick what they want that day, heat it up in the oven or microwave, and then be able to eat that meal. So everybody gets at least 7 entrees per week. If they need more, based on their body mass index or their illness, we have some illnesses that qualify to receive 14, and then they would get 14 entrees per week. So it's not meant to be their sole source of nutrition, but it does provide them a decent amount of food. Go ahead and switch to the next slide. All of our services, like I said, are completely free of charge. So they'll receive the meals plus bread, fruit, string cheese, things like that to provide some extra nutrition. While it's not good for the body, it's good for the soul, and quality of life is important to us. Our sous chef makes the most amazing chocolate chip cookies, so they do get a cookie once in a while as well, or some sort of dessert. Not enough to break the bank, but enough to let them enjoy some fun. So this is kind of what our deliveries look like. Depending on where they live, what day of the week their delivery is, they're all given kind of that 2-hour window of when to expect their meals. Go ahead. So we also do a lot of studies around our meals just to make sure that we're meeting the needs that we expect to be meeting. We're kind of nerds over here. So if you like data and you want to nerd out, feel free to check out our website. But we do a lot of research. We did a retrospective study that looked at our meals prior to having our services, during and after, and we saw reductions in 30-day all-cause hospital readmissions, which was great. We saw reduced inpatient costs and total medical costs, particularly people that had COPD, diabetes, and heart failure. Weight loss and weight gain as needed, improvements to systolic blood pressure, and improvements with behavioral and mental health. We're also partnering with Kaiser and some of the respite facilities to provide meals to people that are unhoused that are staying in the respite facilities like the Legacy Center and Recovery Works and places like that. And we're providing our meals to them as well. So we're trying to be more creative in finding ways to help the unhoused as well as our typical clientele. So given that we deliver frozen meals, we hadn't been able to figure out how to help that population. And now we found a way to do that. So we're super excited about being able to help even more people. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So we talk to our clients about how we improve their aspects of life, and they talk about how they're better able to afford their basic needs. So that's one of the great things about us, is it's not based on whether or not they can cook for themselves or whether or not they can afford their food. It's whether or not they can afford other basic needs. It's not based on that either. It's really just based on their health. So to qualify, you have to have an illness. And that's typically things like cancer, end-stage renal disease, heart failure, dementia, kidney disease, things like that. We've recently branched out into high-risk pregnancy as well. I'm happy to say that this year we've served over 300 moms with high-risk pregnancy. We also serve their dependents. So if they have kiddos in the house that are in need of meals, we'll also serve kiddos. And we've really been able to serve quite a few different people and different populations. So if you have somebody that's in need of services that has an illness, we're the people that you can give a call and we'll let them know if they qualify for our program. Go ahead and switch slides. So we do that in a number of different ways. We really care about the quality of the product. This is a picture of our garden during the summer. So we grow our own herbs, Swiss chard, tomatoes, squash, things like that. All of our All of our beef and chicken are antibiotic free or organic. All of our fish is all sustainably raised and harvested. So we're really trying to use the freshest ingredients possible. Our chefs make all their own sauces and broths and things like that. So we can really limit the amount of sodium that goes into meals to make sure that they're not getting anything that's processed or getting a lot of salt for those that have heart failure or COPD, because that's really bad for them. And we can really enhance the flavors by using fresh herbs. Go ahead and switch slides. So we take each one of our menus and we modify it 18 to 20 different ways to meet people's specific diet needs. So if they have kidney issues, we have a renal diet. So what that means is that we can offer low sodium, potassium, and phosphorus. So if somebody told you not to eat a lot of phosphorus, most of us don't know what that means. Our chefs do, so they can prepare the meals and then just deliver it. And our clients know that they can eat whatever they're getting. They don't have to worry about it. If people have allergies to eggs or dairy, we can remove those. If they have mouth sores or nausea from chemo, we can provide an unseasoned diet. We also have vegetarian. All of our meals are heart healthy, diabetic appropriate. We don't have a gluten-free kitchen, but we can do gluten-friendly meals. So we can use rice pastas, things like that. We do have clients who have celiac, so that's up to them if they want to take that chance, but we do have celiac clients. There might be flour particles in the air, but we are very careful about cross-contamination. If people have an ileostomy or colostomy, we can do less gassy foods, or if they're on blood thinners, we can do low vitamin K foods. If they have dexterity or dentation issues, we can do bite-sized foods. If they can't eat beef, fish, or pork for various reasons, we can eliminate those. Go ahead and switch to the next slide. So there's about 280 different combinations each week that they cook for. As I said, there's no age restrictions, there's no income restrictions, there's no documentation status that's required as far as immigration status. Our youngest client ever was 11 months. Our oldest was 105. So it's all based on their health. We also serve dependents. So as I said, if I were a client, we'd provide meals to my kids. My husband, who doesn't know how to cook, that's kind of too bad. But if he were disabled in some way, let's say he were vision impaired or something, we'd provide meals to him as well. Here's just a few of the illnesses that we serve, but we have hundreds of illnesses. So things that don't qualify, diabetes on its own does not qualify for our program. There's just way too many people, unfortunately. Mental health other than dementia on its own does not qualify. Again, there's just too many people. And then any kind of injury. So again, we're looking at illnesses, not injuries. So if you were in a car accident, that does not qualify someone. So that's kind of what we're looking for as far as who qualifies for our program. Go ahead and switch to the next slide. So it's super easy to apply. Our application's online. It does need to be filled out by a medical provider because we need their actual diagnosis information. Clients will usually put that they have heart problems. That's not helpful. There's about 40 different types of heart disease. I need to know the specific type. So their medical provider needs to fill it out. And then it is triaged based on their nutritional need and their client characteristics. But people that are pregnant or super underweight or don't have access to food are typically expedited. Wait times can vary person to person, as well as geographically as well. So like Pueblo, we don't have a ton of people right now that are on our wait list, so they're getting processed faster. Greeley, we just expanded and we're in the process of building our volunteer driver population. So there's kind of a wait while we build that. And it's kind of a one-on, one-off because I only have 2 drivers up there. So until I build that volunteer base, it's a little bit of a backup. So it really depends on the area and how many applications we're getting. Right now, we get about 125 applications a week across all regions. Go ahead and switch to the next slide. If you're interested in helping out, my contact information, it's all on our website. Sorry, go ahead and go to the next slide. If you're interested in helping out, you can always volunteer. We have lots of volunteer opportunities. If you want to help deliver meals, it takes about 2 hours to do that. We would love to have your help doing that. If you want to help in our kitchen, we always welcome that. All of our meal bags are decorated that go out each week. We would love help doing that if you want to do that. So here's more information on that. Next slide is a fun one. Somebody decorated the 7 dwarfs on our meal bags. And that's where I'll stop and see if anybody has questions. I know I talked really fast, but I didn't want to miss anything.
Last year, a gentleman left my building and he left me about 20 of those meals. And I have to say they were pretty tasty. So I have to say the quality of food was pretty decent. So I just want to let you know that.
Oh, thank you.
I think it would be really neat, Brandy, if you guys could get like younger groups engaged more, like even decorating the bags from a younger perspective to really get them to start learning how to assist in those areas that, you know, are needed, some volunteers, and hoping that that'll resonate down the road for them.
Yeah, we get a lot of Girl Scout troops, and we get a lot of the school art clubs do some of the decorating. Yep.
Also, I think I would like to maybe provide some feedback. We get a lot of calls on our INA service. And I think something that could go great with this food delivery program is to have a companion to eat your meal. A lot of these older adults are very lonely. They don't have really, communication with much people, especially if they don't mobilize by themselves. So I think that could be also an interesting approach to find a companion to have your meal.
Yeah. We do, so we've started doing this thing called the client mingle. We actually have one tomorrow at 3 o'clock. So it's a virtual thing, and I know not all of the clients can do virtual, but we're just getting together online and letting them chat. And we're just there to make sure it doesn't go any way it shouldn't go.
Yeah, that's still a great initiative.
Yeah. Somebody asked if the services are statewide or if there's limited counties. So currently we do home delivery from Larimer and Weld County all the way down through Pueblo. So that includes like Boulder, Jefferson, Adams, Arapahoe, Douglas, Denver, blah, 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 all of the Denver metro, El Paso down to Pueblo. We can ship statewide with the exception of a spot over by Durango because FedEx can't get there in the appropriate amount of time for food delivery. However, for shipping, those meals are funded by healthcare partners because it is very expensive to ship. So typically hospitals pay for those meals. So that's a little bit different. Somebody asked about the difference between Project Angel Heart and Meals on Wheels. That's a great question. So Meals on Wheels, you do have to be 60 and older. For Project Angel Heart, you do not. Meals on Wheels, you do not have to have an illness. Project Angel Heart, with the exception of our Dr. Cog grant-funded meals, you do have to have an illness. And then we have some of their meals, they deliver hot. Some of them, they deliver frozen. We do all of ours frozen. And then we have professional chefs who cook all the meals and then medically tailor them. Their meals are, they're medically tailored to a certain extent, but they don't do like the renal, gastrointestinal, low vitamin K. They don't do all of those different combinations. And they do not need a social security number to receive assistance. We do not collect that information, so they do not need any kind of documentation status as far as residency in the US. Correct. They do not know.
Hey, Brandy, are majority of the food items delivered via volunteers?
Almost all of them, yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Good.
So we have some staff that do some of our healthcare deliveries. So like to the respite shelters, things like that, but almost all of them are done by volunteers.
That's amazing. Good.
Yeah. Somebody asked about the application being submitted by a medical provider. Yes, we do accommodate different languages. That is a great question. So on staff, I have English and Spanish speaking. I do ASL. Very rusty. It's more PSE than ASL, if you know the difference, for whoever asked that. And we also have all of our documents translated into 16 different languages that are up to date, about 24 that are slightly outdated, and then we use a language line and Google Translate for the rest.
This is such a great program. Just thank you so much for that, because you're helping so many people just live.
Yeah, and what I was saying earlier is a lot of people think, well, I can still cook my food, so I guess I don't need your program. And I'm like, well, if you're having to choose between food, medication, and housing, get our food so you can pay for your meds or pay for your housing and not have to pay as much for your food. Like, don't think about it in the fact that, like, yeah, you can still cook for yourself. Cool, glad you can cook for yourself, but if you can't pay for your meds or your house, utilize the resources that are available to you. And that's where, like, all of us can work together. We partner really closely with Hunger Free Colorado, and we also refer to them, some of our clients, directly, because I think we all need to support everybody. Otherwise, it is hard to get by right now,
It is, yes. We also noticed that a lot of people that call us looking for transportation have lost their benefits, Medicaid, transportation to their appointments, SNAP. So just like you mentioned, collaboration right now, it's critical for everybody that needs our resources. Thank you, Brenda.
Yeah, and we're hoping the 1115 waiver will help, with funding and stuff like that. Because right now, most of our funding comes from, like, just fundraising. So eventually maybe Medicaid will come through and be able to fund more of our meals. But for now, like, we'll just keep doing it the way we're doing it. And as long as the clients get the free services that they need, that's what we're here for. Jamie.
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. I turned 65 this year and I joined a Medicare program and I'm getting $185 a month in food. And I can't tell you how much that has affected my budget. So I'm just kind of reiterating what you're saying, that it does have a really positive effect on people's budget. So I'm experiencing that now.
Yeah, I have 2 teenagers, and my grocery bill is over $1,000 a month, and I'm like, I cannot fathom what I would do if I could not do that. It's crazy.
Well, thank you so much, Brittany. This has been super, super informative, and I appreciate you sharing. We're gonna go ahead and
Thank you.
Hey, Steph, can I just one more? Hey, Brandon, it's Todd from MedRide, and I would love to connect with you. We are all over the state of Colorado doing transportation. We do about 2,000 trips a day, and we've really isolated in those remote areas. And maybe there's a way that you can utilize this that would be cost effective, reducing spend. And I think it's something I'd love to explore with you.
That's great. I'll drop my email in the chat.
Perfect.
Thank you.
We are here for the collaborations. Thanks, Don.
awesome. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to our final speaker for the day. Whitney Lead is from Growing Home, and they offer kind of a network of services and programs that support people experiencing immediate and long-term barriers to stability and success. So I'm gonna pass it off to Whitney.
Hi, everyone. My name's Whitney. It's Leeds. There's an S on the end of it, but that's okay.
Oh, so sorry.
That's okay. I have a flyer present. I don't know if y'all already added that into the PowerPoint or if you need me to share it separately.
If you have it pulled up, I can be able to share. Let me stop sharing.
I think it might be on the next slide, Steph, if I looked correctly.
It is. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay. Here we go.
Wonderful. Okay. Oh, they're kind of tiny on my screen, but that's okay. As long as y'all can see them, then I already know all this information. So my name's Whitney Leeds. I use she, her, and ella pronouns. I'm the Advocacy and Community Organizing Manager with Growing Home. If you don't know about us, we're up in the South Westminster neighborhood, so kind of North Metro region, right off of Federal Boulevard and 72nd, basically. So we have kind of an array of direct service programs to support folks that are experiencing different kinds of challenges. And so I'm going to go through each of those today, and then we can kind of like also talk about what the work is that we're doing that focuses on transportation related stuff as well. So our biggest program is our food pantry. anyone can come to our food pantry. We do receive TFAP. So folks that are TFAP eligible, meaning that they are going to be income qualified and be able to essentially prove certain eligibility pieces. They're going to be able to get slightly more food, but we also have for folks that aren't able to qualify for TFAP, they will still walk home or walk away from us with several pounds of food. Our food pantry is a shopping model, so we don't right now we don't have any pre-packed anything. We're going to be starting in January to do some sort of grab and go options for folks that might not be able to stay and shop or might be unhoused and therefore not have like a great place to be able to store enough supplies or things that require refrigeration. So those grab and go bags are really a lot more. They're going to be more sort of shelf stable items. But typically when folks come through our food pantry, they're going to be able to get meats, fresh vegetables, and then a whole bunch of other shelf-stable items, kind of typical things that you would expect, beans, pastas, rice, all sorts of other stuff as well. So our food pantry folks, households can come up to twice a month. And we are open Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. to noon. On Thursdays, we also have a second shift between 3 to 5 p.m. as well for folks that prefer afternoons. We definitely suggest that folks come about an hour before service starts to get in line. We're only able to take 40 households per day, and we frequently hit that cap and then have to turn households away. So we strongly suggest that folks, if they're going to come for our 10 a.m. service, to get there around 9 o'clock in the morning. And then they'll be able to, around 9:30, folks will come out and they'll give them a little pager and they'll be able to go in and shop when their number is called. So that's our food pantry. And folks also don't have, it doesn't matter where you're living. So people can come to us from anywhere. We have people that come from all over the place, out of state even sometimes. So then our housing program provides both rental assistance and utility assistance. We have rental assistance on a monthly basis and utility assistance on a quarterly basis. That has a lot more stringent eligibility requirements, unfortunately, because it's funded through TANF through Adams County. So it's for Adams County residents only. We're really looking for folks that are at risk of becoming unhoused and need rental assistance to get current on their rent, essentially. We also provide mortgage assistance if it's an ownership situation. So the rental assistance, we definitely strongly suggest that if you're working with someone that is looking for rental assistance, to reach you as a staff member to reach out to us to do a referral directly, because we only have 10 spots per month on our rental assistance, and we have a prioritization system. Our rental assistance comes with 6 months of case management services. So the folks that have been successful being a client with someone else are more likely to be successful with our case management services as well. And so we have a preference for folks that are getting referred through different agencies. So if you're referring them to us, that would be really helpful. And those applications are open between the 1st and the 7th of each month. But as you can imagine, it fills up really, really quickly. So we strongly suggest like around the 1st of the month to try and get those applications filled out, and you can get them online at our website, which is growinghome.org. Our families that are going to qualify for that need to have at least one person under the age of 18 that's in the house. At least one person in the household has to have some kind of U.S. residency or citizenship, but it doesn't have to be the applicant. So it can be the 2-week-old baby if they were born in the U.S., for example. And then the household cannot have an income higher than $70,000. So those are our kind of eligibility requirements for the housing. And then typically we're looking at folks that need about $3,000 or less to get current on their rent. We know a lot of people owe a lot more than that. And we are able to give people up to $5,000 a year. But typically what happens is that we'll give them an initial infusion at the beginning of case management. And then if they need additional help or they want to get ahead on their rent so that they can start, saving money, we'll max them out at that $5,000. Folks are able to get help once a year because it's through TANF. So if they're getting TANF through other sources, also that's going to bump them out, unfortunately. Our Parents as Teachers program. This is an amazing, amazing program. It is a home visitation program. where we partner directly with families and send a parent educator into the home. Unfortunately, for our rental assistance program, there needs to be at least one person under the age of 18 in the household. For folks that are elderly and don't have any children in the household, or any singles, anybody that doesn't have children in the household, we would have to refer them to a different agency for rental assistance. Unfortunately, it's just those eligibility requirements come directly from TANF. We did not come up with them. So our Parents as Teachers program is a home visitation program that really focuses on young children being able to meet those developmental milestones that are really, really critical between really the age of like 0 and 5. And so we have a team of parent educators. And so each family will get partnered with a specific parent educator who will go with them. And they do home visits twice a month with them. And essentially what they're doing is they are observing the child, observing the parent and the child interacting, and then they'll suggest and show them different kinds of tools and games that they can play with their children using things that you would find kind of just around the house that is going to spur those different types of important development. So whether it's socio-emotional development or intellectual, fine motor skills, whatever it is. And they also end up doing a lot of resource navigation with those families as well. Many of those families are coming to us and they need additional support on top of the parenting education pieces. And so they do. There's a lot of that of the resource navigation that happens with them. We also do resource navigation with just anyone that wants support finding help. And then we also have a collaborative coaching program. This is for folks that are more interested in a longer term kind of supportive, kind of almost accountability partner. It's about really setting and being able to reach different goals, whether it's in your career, you want to be able to save money, you want to, seek out more education. Maybe you have a goal for like your own family, and maybe you want to get into therapy or whatever it is. Our coaching program essentially puts our participants in the driver's seat, and they are then able to essentially have a partner that it's going to be able to help them reach each of those goals. It's a 2-year case management program. People that graduate from the program typically have a large chunk in their savings afterwards and are making considerably more money than when they started out. So it's an incredibly successful program. And I can also share some stats on that as well. And then finally, our last program is our community organizing and public policy kind of advocacy program. It's called Connecting Community. And essentially what we do in Connecting Community is we work with the people that participate in our direct service programs to get involved on those issues in the community or at the city level, county level, or at the state level that is impacting them, their family, their community, and that they want to, do something about and create some social change. So we have a food justice campaign, for example. We are in a neighborhood that no longer has any supermarkets. And so we're working on implementing a community fridge initiative in South Westminster so that there's more free to food options for anybody, any time of day. We're also working on, we have a community garden as well, which also came out of our community organizing work, which harvests about 3,000 to 4,000 pounds annually that goes directly to our food pantry so that the people that are shopping in our food pantry have access to organic, locally grown, fresh produce. It is also a wonderful place to volunteer, both in our community garden as well as in our food pantry. We have lots and lots of volunteer opportunities for folks that might be interested. We do accept people that need community service hours for court or for school, different kinds of obligations. We're happy to take anybody who is interested in volunteering. Finally, I wanted to also talk a little bit about the transportation study that we're doing right now in collaboration with the Denver Regional Council of Governments. And I'm sorry, I'm going to put this link into the chat because I did not put it into the materials that I sent along. However, we are, as I said before, we're in a neighborhood that no longer has any supermarkets, and that has created an untold number of challenges for the folks in our community to be able to access healthcare, food, work, school, all of the things, right, that we need in order to get to and from each day. So when we lost our last supermarket, we did some surveying of our community to figure out really what the impact was, and we were actually kind of shocked to find out actually how few people have access to transportation. in the community. It is a much broader problem than we even realized. And so, and we even asked, do you want help applying for the RTD discount service? And the answer was, no, we actually don't want that. There's a lot of different reasons for it that we learned later. But what we're doing right now is we're working with Denver Regional Council of Governments on a community-based transit plan. And really what we're hoping is that the results of that study is going to enable us to push for a microtransit shuttle that is going to be hopefully free for local community members to get in and around the neighborhood, just to, and obviously to the supermarkets that are just outside of the neighborhood as well. So right now, if you go to the link that I just put into the chat, you'll be able to see the page where we kind of post all the information for that study. We're in our second round of community engagement on that issue right now. And we would love for folks to fill out our survey. Anyone that lives or travels within the area of South Westminster or Southwest Adams County, even if you don't live there, if you travel there on a fairly regular basis, we would love to hear from you. Just so that we can have a lot of survey, responses that are going to be in support of what we know already that our community needs, which is just for some free transit. So I will, yes, we are, Jamie, we are looking at funds from RTD, from CDOT, from federal government, and then also through City of Westminster and Adams County, potentially City of Arvada, potentially Jeffco, because the jurisdictional lines are all wild up here. We're kind of all over there. We've got 3 different school districts in one town. So yeah, we're looking at a whole bunch of different funds, but the funding piece will come after we already have the study completed. And that's slated to end in March of 2025. So just a few more months, we should have that study done. We're working with an engineering firm called Farron Piers that's helping us basically build the full model and proposal for what we're trying to get. And then we're going to be looking at different, assuming that we can get one of these jurisdictions to kind of bite, we're going to be looking at just a kind of array of different funding options for that. And then lastly, on the left, you can see this is just for folks that might be interested in hosting a food drive or just donating some items for our food pantry. We often have a really big uptick in the number of visits, and I think this is probably true for most food pantries. We get a big uptick in the winter, I think, because a lot of people are, if you're like in construction or different kind of outdoor trades, there's just not as much work in the winter. So we are always happy to take food donations. We just ask that you check and make sure they're not expired before you get to us, because we're just going to have to toss them if they are. But yeah, I'm happy to take any questions, and thank you so much to Maria and the Dr. Mac team for inviting us here today.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and accepting our invitation. I feel like we all have learned so much about all the programs available at Growing Home. And they are, honestly, I feel like each of the programs can feed to many of the needs that our callers express. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. I just more of a comment than a question, but I love any kind of like shopping model for resources. I think it's really awesome that you'll have that over there. So yeah, appreciate you sharing out the info.
For sure. And we are those, I know that it's not always we're going to start those grab and go bags because we know it's not always practical for folks to be able to wait around or do their shopping. We're also looking at, for those grab and go bags, for the folks that are unhoused, potentially allowing them to come up to 4 times a month rather than just twice a month, since the grab and go bags have, they have to be carryable. So there's just less poundage in them. So, check our website again come January. All of those changes are going to be implemented by then. I should also say, gosh, sorry, we are in the middle of renovations right now. So if folks went to our food pantry this week, they will be turned away. So I apologize. We're actually reopening next Tuesday, the 19th. So just a week from today is when those renovations should all be done.
Awesome. There is a question in the chat from Melissa Miller, and I don't remember the context of when you asked this, so I apologize, but the question is, how about for someone who's elderly but no children? So Melissa, I don't know if you want to clarify what that question's in the context of.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
okay.
that was,
Okay.
yeah, I think that was for the rental assistance.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, and elderly people that are living in a household that have, where there are children, that household will qualify. There just has to be at least one person under the age of 18 in the home for our rental assistance program. But again, if they don't qualify, we can help navigate them to another resource that will. I have to say, there's not nearly enough rental assistance funds out there. So sometimes it is really hard to navigate people places, but our navigation staff does what they can to try and get people into places that they know that they're actually going to be able to meet the qualifications and before the cap. So we do our best.
Awesome. Any other questions before I move on?
Correct. No, there just has to be at least one person under the age of 18 living in the household. Thanks for
Awesome.
your question.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Whitney, for joining us today. Yeah, really appreciate you sharing out the info. And before, oh, one more question in the chat about how can we refer clients and what's the best way we can connect with your services.
Yeah, so for our rental and utility assistance program, which is the one that really requires a referral, I'm going to put into the chat the email address for our intake coordinator. Her name is Sarita. And she is the person who accepts all of the applications, reviews them, and is in contact with the folks making those referrals. So I'll get her into the information.
Okay, awesome. So I do just want to quickly, I put the document in the chat. I do just want to quickly show everyone what it looks like before Malia's going to talk a little bit about membership next, but I just wanted to show everyone we compiled, this is a very much a non-comprehensive list of resources, but we just wanted to kind of compile some resources if you are interested in supporting any of these organizations and their kind of their efforts this winter season. There's kind of a short list here. There is a QR code and a link at the bottom of the page. I also put this link in the chat, but I can put it again there. It links to a post on our website with even more resources. So there's different ways you can support there. And then those flyers that we were just looking at from Growing Home are available at the bottom of this document in both English and Spanish. So again, I put this in the chat, so feel free to download this, share it, print it, whatever you want to do with it. But just wanted to show everyone what that looked like. So awesome. I'm going to go back to our slides here. And Malia is going to talk to us a little bit about membership.
Wonderful. Thanks, Steph. In next month's meeting, we're going to be going over all of Dr. Mack's successes from this past year, but I just wanted to take a quick moment now to recognize that none of the accomplishments we'll be talking about would be possible without the support and dedication of our membership base. So your commitment is truly the foundation of Dr. Mack's success. And as we move into 2025, we hope you'll continue to be a part of our mission by renewing or starting your membership for the coming year. We're excited in 2025 as we'll be offering new benefits to our members that we think are going to make connections to Dr. Mack even more valuable. We're going to introduce, just as a couple examples, we're going to introduce biannual luncheons, and these are going to be a similar format to employee resource groups or ERGs, if you've heard of those. It's going to be a place where we can gather, create a space to network, share insights, and build partnerships with others in our community. So we're really excited to host those in 2025. Additionally, we're going to launch a password-protected member resource page that will be designated. It will be designated as a kind of a one-stop shop for your networking and resources. It'll have a featured section for membership contacts, so you can connect with each other, reach out directly, and collaborate with one another. And there will also be a comprehensive list of valuable community resources, all organized for your convenience. Because we have so many great resources at Dr. Mack, we really do want to share those out for free with everyone. But what you'll get on the membership page is nice and organized. It'll be, you know, by subject and counties. So if you come to the meeting and you just can't quite remember that one person that was a great resource, this will be the place for that. As we continue to work and expand, we think that these offerings will strengthen our community and Dr. Mack, and your support is more important than ever. So please take the time to start or renew your membership today and help us build another impactful year in 2025. Colleen did me the favor. She pasted the link in the chat for our membership page. So thank you so much for the time you give us.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Awesome. Well, we talked a lot about giving today, and like Malia was saying, pretty much everything we do, we can't do without your support. So we would love to be the recipient of your support this winter season as well. And Colorado Gives Day is December 10th this year, so we're in full swing of that campaign, as I'm sure many of you also are. But Malia put together a wonderful video just to kind of share some of the stories of what, why we do what we do, how it's really impacted folks that we've actually spoken to on the phone and, done trainings with and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and play that video now. And I'm excited for y'all to see. If for whatever reason you can't hear it, let me know, but it should be good to go. So.
It paused for some reason.
At the Denver Regional Mobility and Access Council, our mission is to empower our community by breaking down barriers to transportation. Because for many, reliable transportation isn't just about getting from place to place. It's about access, independence, and opportunity.
Just to narrate some of the stories for folks. So during a travel training session, staff noticed an elderly woman who spoke only Spanish, looking in need of direction. They gave her detailed directions to help her reach her destination, all while teaching others how to navigate public transportation. It reminded everyone of power of compassion and connection. And then someone who we worked with had shared that I've had extensive medical issues related to my vision. If it weren't for the Uber benefit you helped with, I would probably sit at home depressed. I can now attend spirit lifting activities that are helping me cope with the stress. The work you are doing is super important and really making a difference in people's lives, from Roxanne. And another story, after learning that several residents in her complex lacked weekly rides to the grocery store, a community member reached out to us for help. Thanks to our partnerships, we were able to secure consistent transit, ensuring these neighbors had reliable access to essential trips, a solution met with heartfelt gratitude. And then this is really challenging my reading out loud skills. I wish to thank you from the bottom of my heart for advocating for our residents. I have tried to find them a way to get to the grocery store, but couldn't. You don't know how much they will appreciate your efforts. Thank you so much for caring about our residents. We all appreciate your efforts and are so grateful for your service. It's above and beyond for us. Kathy.
But we can't do this great work alone. This year, we're asking for your help to ensure that everyone in our community can live with freedom and dignity, with the power of transportation on their side. Hearing from the people in our community reminds us why we do what we do. They remind us that a small step can lead to a world of possibilities. Join us in making a difference. Every contribution helps fuel the journeys of those in need, transforming lives one ride at a time. Donate today to support access, opportunity, and empowerment in our community.
All right. Yeah, reading out loud is not my strong suit. So but yeah, thanks again, Malia, for making that video. And Colleen put the link to our Colorado Gives page in the chat. So like I said, really like everything we do, we couldn't do without all you. So would really appreciate your support. And yeah, I'm going to pass it off to Colleen, who's going to lead us in some community updates in the last 20 minutes-ish of our meeting. So yeah, Colleen.
Thanks, Steph. And yes, thanks to all of you for your support. But at our last meeting, we heard from some transportation providers we've recently added to our Getting There guide. Keeping with the effort of sharing new information, does anyone have any events coming up or anything you would like to promote? Please unmute, raise your hand, or type in the chat. We'd love to hear from you and your organization. I know there has to be something going on.
I put it on, it's on the resource sheet. Actually, sorry, it's on our webpage. But there is a Refugee First Thanksgiving happening, which I think is super cool. But I just wanted to put that out there. I'm getting the page pulled up here. But it is on November, let's see. I should have had this pulled up before I unmuted, I apologize. But it's the African Community Center. They're hosting the 19th Annual Refugee First Thanksgiving on Monday, November 25th from 5 to 9 p.m. It's a free event. Anyone can go. Oh, perfect. Danny will be there, so thank you. But yeah, just wanted to share that out. So yeah.
Randy?
I also was looking for what I had to say. So we are hosting the second annual Food is Medicine Summit Colorado. And I was trying to figure out when it is. I think it's on December 11th, but let me just verify. Boy. Sorry, I'm opening it.
No, that's okay.
It is December 11th. So it's December 11th it's at the Colorado History Center at 12th and Broadway. If that is something you're interested in attending, I know we're expecting it to sell out, but we currently do have about 25 seats available. Feel free to check it out. It's the 2024 Colorado Food is Medicine Summit. So that's exciting. Feel free to join us if that's something you're interested in.
Thank you, Brenda. Did you say you were going to put the link in the chat?
I will do that.
Thank you. I was hearing things. Whitney put in the chat that the Colorado Consumer Health Initiative is hosting a webinar, Know Your Rights, when accessing medical care in Colorado on Monday, November 18th, 5:30 to 7 p.m. Good resource. Please help me pronounce your name. I see your hand is because I will chop it up. I see your hand is raised.
No worries. Aide.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, this is the first time I'm joining these meetings. I'm very grateful that I found it. The amazing resources that you share. Thank you. So we are collaborating with other two organizations on doing a Know Your Rights presentation this Thursday. I'll be happy to share the flyer. It's mostly for in Spanish community. So if I could share to one of your emails that you can pass it to the members on this group, if you have clients that you think they can benefit for this presentation, we will have an immigration lawyer to do a presentation on know your rights and also answer questions, and just to create awareness of what is going on nowadays, to provide some information that might be helpful for the community. And also we have a community calendar, and if you have events that you think can be helpful to share with the community, if you don't mind sharing with me, I can add it on that calendar, so that way we can have all the resources in one place and it's easier to share with our community.
Thank you, Aidea.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Go
I will
ahead,
make
Mary.
it on social media. Thank you so much. And I will also connect with you so we can talk about more of these Spanish communities. I am trying to reach to more Spanish communities so we can expand our travel trainings. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be happy.
I think Latoya is doing outreach in that area too. That's why I put my email in the chat, so she could just have to send it to one place. So when you get it, if you could just forward that also to Latoya, Maria. But thank you. That's a good resource.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I know you guys have probably, some of you have heard about the proposed changes for RTD in 2025. So I'm gonna just put those in there and let you open it and read it at your leisure. I'm trying to think, help me team, what else is going on at Dr. Mack? Come with you.
I'm going to reiterate the local coordinating councils. We could definitely use your guys' support in those counties to make change, and even a small, portion of the county, I think is important. Currently in Jefferson County, Douglas and Adams, we're really trying to work with the transportation planning itself and seeing what projects we can do in there. So if that's something you're interested in doing, please reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat as well.
Yes. Oh, I know what, we have expanded our INA services. Maria, do you want to talk about that a little bit? She may have had to drop off, but our information and assistance line is now we have a chat or a text feature. Sorry, we're working on the chat feature. And we also have translation in additional languages. So if English is not your first language, we are able to connect you with a translation service to get you some of those resources.
Yes, and also to speed up your transportation research, we can now connect you and transfer you to the transportation choice of service that you prefer. So those are the new things going on with our INA. And I also wanted to share this information to whoever this is helpful. There is a Arvada overnight shelter. Now that temperatures are dropping, they announce every day they will be open at 10 a.m. So again, that is Mission Arvada. They have an overnight shelter.
Thank you, Maria. Okay, well, I don't think there's anything else in the chat, so I'm gonna assume that's all of the updates for now. And as always, we would like to give a special shout out to our Dr. Mack members. We truly couldn't do what we do without their support and hope to have more members join us for 2025. If you haven't signed up for your 2025 membership yet, please reach out to us. And that about brings us to the end of our meeting today. Thank you all for attending. We look forward to seeing you at our annual meeting scheduled for December 3rd from 1:30 to 3 p.m. via Zoom. It's so hard to believe we only have one meeting left for 2024. But the registration link for the December meeting can be found on our website. And we just announced our 2025 meeting schedule. Thanks again, and we hope to see you all next month.